Voting on March 2nd, 2020 was peaceful. This was of course confirmed by local and international observers in the country. But what followed was a 5-month-long delay in the declaration of the winner, as the APNU, using its operatives at GCOM, to embark on what is now referred to as the most blatant attempt at election rigging in the Western Hemisphere. This event in Guyana's history highlighted a clear need for the country's electoral laws to be revisited. That particular piece of legislation, the Representation of the People's Act, commonly called ROPA, revealed flaws and major loopholes. Simply, changes were urgently needed. The legislation had to be strengthened, ambiguous provisions needed to be ironed out, and stiffer penalties introduced to guard against future attempts to carry out electoral fraud. In this regard, the PPPC government has made available the Draft Representation of the People Elections Regulations 2021 and the Draft Representation of the People Amendment Bill 2021 to stakeholders for their feedback and comment before these are presented in the National Assembly for debate. Let's examine several aspects of the proposed act, beginning with the subdivision of the District Number 4, the most populated district in Guyana's electoral equation. While the tabulation process for the other 9 electoral districts were completed without controversy following the close of poll on March 2, 2020, it was in District 4 that returning officer Claremont Mingo abandoned the long-established verification and tabulation process and twice declared fraudulent figures which gave the APNU-AFC coalition victory. The 1-month recount of the votes cast later showed that he had inflated the APNU-AFC's votes by 19,116 votes and reduced the PPPC's votes by 3,689. As a means of addressing this, it is proposed that District 4 be divided into 4 sub-districts, which are East Bank Demerara, East Coast Demerara, North Georgetown and South Georgetown. It is important to note that while each district is expected to have its own staff, infrastructure, regulations, systems and procedures to operate as an electoral district by itself, the division is not intended to give an advantage to anyone in particular, nor will it alter the allocation of votes or seats in the National Assembly. Another aspect of the amendments outlines how the tabulation must be done, who are to be present during that process, what role they must play, and when the process must begin. It should be recalled that during the attempted rigging, Mingo abandoned the long-established process in which the tabulation is done using the figures from the statements of poll and instead used fictitious figures from a spreadsheet. Then, after he was mandated by the court to display the SOPs being used for his tabulation, he resorted to display poorly visible documents projected on a bed sheet. The amendments also deal with polling stations. The current dispensation allows for the Chief Elections Officer to solely determine where polling stations are to be located and provides no clear criteria to guide the exercise of discretion in relation to the number of polling stations within an electoral division and how many persons are to be listed to vote at a particular polling station. This could be used for voter suppression, as was the case with the former CEO, Keith Lowingfield. The amendments to the Act in this regard will ensure this never reoccurs, as it sets out the criteria to be used to establish a polling station within a division and what factors are to be taken into account. Contrary to what is being proffered in some quarters, the proposed amendments to ROPA were not intended or designed to give any political party an electoral advantage, but only to make the electoral machinery stronger. It will ensure Guyana's democratic process is durable, make our democratic machinery more impenetrable, make it modern, responsive, and responsible. It will also make officers who are employed in the process accountable and their actions and the process transparent.